Good evening. A lawsuit against the Port of Lake Charles alleges a misappropriation of over $1 million of taxpayer money. And it all stems around the termination of the Lake Charles Stevedores contract in 2011. KPLC's Gerron has been working this story and is in the studio now with details.
Yes, Cynthia. Well, according to this contract between the Lake Charles Stevedores and the Port of Lake Charles, if the port was to terminate this contract for any reason, they would be responsible to pay $5.6 million to the Stevedores. But after they canceled their contract nearly 2 years ago, instead of paying the Stevedores, the port paid a different company. Now attorneys for the Stevedores want the port to own up, but the port has a different story. From outside the gates at the city docks of the Port of Lake Charles, it looks like business as usual. But the longshoremen who struggle to stay working on the inside will tell you a different story.
In my 21 years at the docks, I've never seen it where I went without work this past summer that long.
They attribute that ghost-like atmosphere to the absence of the Lake Charles Stevedores.
The process put at least 250 men out of a job. That's my real concern.
It's what happened immediately before and after that contract was terminated that's brought a lawsuit against the Port of Lake Charles with claims of misappropriation of funds and a motion for a partial summary judgment in the amount of $5.56 million.
You paid the wrong party, you paid the wrong amount, and so now all we're saying is fine, now pay the right party and pay the right amount.
Tom Philo is representing the Lake Charles Stevedores. He says when the contract was terminated in 2011, the Port of Lake Charles didn't pay the company their liquidated damages, as agreed upon in the contract between the port and the Stevedores.
Not paying my client is one thing. Paying somebody who's not owed a dime, $1.3 million, is a whole nother thing, and it's a head scratcher.
But that's what the port did, paying $1.3 million to Cooper Cavalier, a former owner of the Stevedores who relinquished their rights when they sold the Stevedores to Tom Flanagan nearly a decade earlier.
As far as we're concerned, that payment was a complete misappropriation of public funds, and that's one of the allegations we're making in the lawsuit.
In July, Calcasieu Parish Judge Wilfred Carter ruled in favor of the Lake Charles Stevedores, noting the assignment of the port to Cooper Cavalier was invalid. Port Director Bill Reyes disagrees with the allegation of a misappropriation of funds. In a statement to KPLC, Reyes says, quote, "There has been no misappropriation of funds by the port, as has been alleged by Mr. Flanagan, and there is no factual or legal basis for this claim." Now, Reyes said he didn't want to comment on the pending litigation, but says the port plans to file their own motion for summary judgment regarding the contract. They also say they plan to seek legal action against Thomas Flanagan if he doesn't dismiss what they call false and misleading allegations. The next hearing for both parties will be in front of Judge Carter on October 23rd. At your service, Gerron, KPLC 7 News.